What's going on, guys? With you here with a brand new video and another fight prediction that I have. A fight that needs to go down, that most likely is going to go down if you do the MMA calculations right. I'm talking about Jiri Prochazka versus the former light heavyweight champion of the world, who had to vacate his belt as a result of tearing his Achilles, Jamahal Hill, or as some people like to call him, Jamahal Hill. That's kind of how his name is spelled if you read it. But it is what it is at the end of the day, because Jamahal Hill lost by knockout in the first round against Alex Pereira. After all that trash talk that he was talking, he was playing the nice guy, then played the bad guy, and then played the nice guy again after he got knocked out. That was pretty much called for with that knockout. Now, you've got Jiri Prochazka that also got knocked out against Alex Pereira. Both these individuals having opponents in common. But Jiri was in the war over the weekend against the return of Alexander Rakic, and what a fight it was. It was the featured prelim, and if you ask me, it was the fight of the night, and Jiri really had to go through a lot of adversity. If there's one thing about Jiri that it really does need to do, start going forward, is start checking those calf kicks, because his calf was absolutely destroyed. He had to switch stances at time, and Alexander Rakic did have him hurt once or twice in that fight, had him in particular situations, but Jiri, like I said, he was able to channel his inner samurai. He was able to come back in that fight and win via TKO against Alexander Rakic, who was on the sidelines for 2 years after having a knee injury against the former champion Jan Blachowicz. And a fight that was looking like it was going to be a fight of the year contender, but like I said, he hurt himself early on. 2 years later, he comes back against the former champion Jiri Prochazka and loses. This fight was most likely going to happen in the past when Jiri had to vacate his belt and Jamal won the belt. And it looked like these two individuals were on the crash course to facing one another. But Jamahal Hill ended up hurting himself, tearing that Achilles. He had to be on the sidelines and wait for that title shot, which he eventually got. The stars are aligning. Both these guys are most likely going to fight each other. And what a fight it would be. Now, going forward into this fight, do you think Jamahal Hill would actually take the same approach they did with Alex Pereira? Absolutely not. Now, the reason why I say this is because Jiri Prochazka, he goes by the code of the samurai. He's a very respectful fighter. He doesn't talk any trash whatsoever. He just goes in there and he fights. Jamahal Hill is, I wouldn't say he's the same thing because he talks his trash a lot, but there won't be any trash talk going into this fight if it does come to fruition. And if this fight does go down, I wouldn't be surprised if it went down in September in that Abu Dhabi card, or somewhere in in October on the Abu Dhabi card, or somewhere in November for that New York Madison Square Garden card. I wouldn't be surprised it happened in there either, you know. Both these individuals need a couple months of rest, especially Jamahal Hill after getting knocked out like that pretty fast. It's pretty embarrassing, especially after all the trash that he was talking. And then Jiri Prochazka, because he did go through a war with Alexander Rakic for a couple rounds. I really like this fight because both these guys like to stand and bang. They don't really like to get to the ground that much. They do get to the ground if the situation is getting very dangerous, like Jiri Prochazka. He's not afraid to take it to the ground. He's not afraid to submit his opponent. He submitted Glover Teixeira. He also TKO'd Jiri Prochazka. And then another thing with Jiri is that he does tend to get hurt. He is a very unorthodox fighter. It kind of reminds me of the 2.0 version of Johnny Walker. He does some crazy things like Johnny Walker, but unlike Johnny Walker, it actually works out, and he does come away with victories, and he doesn't get knocked out as much. Jamahal Hill, he's good on the feet. On the ground, not so much. He did get submitted against Paul Craig, and he still has room to improve as a mixed martial artist. In today's day of age of mixed martial arts, you don't have to be a specialist in one type of art. You can know a little bit of each art and still be able to come out there as one of the best fighters in the world, or a contender in your appropriate weight class in your division. Both of these individuals like to put on a show. They like to finish off their opponents, and they both have a common goal of getting back in there and facing Alex Pereira yet again to be able to reclaim their throne that they both had to vacate. Those are two things that they have in common right there. You know, three things. They worked their way up through the light heavyweight division. They both had to vacate their belts as a result of injury. They both got knocked out by Alex Pereira. It only makes sense. Like I said, the stars are aligning for these guys to fight one another. And I believe that whoever takes this fight to the ground first is most likely going to be the victor. Whoever is able to get through the fire first is most likely going to be the victor. But Jamahal Hill is going to have to throw everything out there when it comes to the striking department to get Yuri Prochazka out there. And if he doesn't, he's going to have to wrestle. He should have wrestled against Alex Pereira, but I believe his ego got in the way, and he thought he would be able to knock him out because of the power. I believe that he had the type of power that Alex Pereira was never able to witness in kickboxing nor in mixed martial arts, just because he fought in a weight class lower and was still relatively new in the light heavyweight division, even beating former champions such as the likes of Yuri Prochazka, Jan Blachowicz, Sean Strickland, Israel Adesanya, and many other guys. I'm only saying that with Izzy because Izzy has gone up to the light heavyweight division before, but he did fail trying to become a two-division champion. Alex, he talks about going up in heavyweight and stuff like that, but I wouldn't be surprised if he sticked around in the light heavyweight division and fought one of these two guys again. Like I said, whoever wins this fight between Jamahal Hill and Yuri Prochazka, which is a fight that's most likely going to take place in, like I said, I believe it's going to take place either in September or between September and November. November at the max, Madison Square Garden, I believe, or in October in Abu Dhabi. There still hasn't been a title fight confirmed for that card, but UFC always goes to Abu Dhabi every year. The UFC has now been committed to going back to Australia every year now that we're out of the pandemic, and the UFC has tended to go to Singapore more than ever now that we've been out of the pandemic, so I wouldn't mind seeing that fight happen in Singapore. I'd like to see this fight go down in a city that's very relatively low in the sea level. So I don't want to see this in the mountains and elevation, see these guys get tired right off the rip. I want to see these guys fight in a beach town, whatever, and really see these guys just throw leather and throw everything they have at one another, because both these guys don't like the gravel, but they will if they have to. I appreciate you guys for watching this video. Who do you think wins that fight? Because that's most likely the fight that's going to take place next for the number 1 contenders match in the UFC. Jamahal Hill versus Yuri Prochazka. Both guys that have unfinished business with Alex Pereira. And will Alex Pereira still stay around by the time these two individuals fight each other? Will he go up in heavyweight and will he stay there? Or will he stay in light heavyweight and decide to go up in heavyweight by 2025? Appreciate you guys for watching this video. Take it easy, stay blessed, and stay safe, guys. Later.